Olex Network 18, Mission Poshan, Bhavishya Roshan.
Hi, welcome to Overdrive. You're watching the show with me, Sohini Dutt. Now, there's a new chapter which is set to unfold for Volvo in India as it's all set to enter into the very hotly contested compact luxury crossover segment with the new XC40. Here's all you need to know about the car.
The new designs are inviting. The new cars drive like a charm. They are priced rather well, are the safest in the category and are kitted to the brim. All these factors have made Volvo's top-down strategy robust enough to pave the way for the new baby. Say hello to the Volvo XC40. It is the third SUV in Volvo's lineup, but is built on a completely new platform called the Compact Modular Architecture or CMA. It is built from high-strength steels for enhanced safety, is ready for electric propulsion, cleanly integrates new-age radar-based technologies, and is built for enhanced driving comfort. Compared to the XC90 and the XC60, the XC40 has a tall and upright stance. It is the tallest in its class, larger overall than the Q3 and the GLA, and only marginally shorter on length and width than the BMW X1. The grille on the range-topping R design trim seen here gets a riveted design and gets a gloss black finish. Chrome would have made it a bit too similar to the diamond grille on the Merc. The face has a youthful yet butch look to it, and that should attract many. The side profile looks great too, from the sleek roof rails to the broad shoulder line and the prominent surface sculpting on the doors to the handsome alloy wheels. These come in a largest in class optional 20-inch design or in an 18-inch size that is the default specification. The XC40 also packs in an electronic tailgate which hides a massive 586 litres of boot space. I think it's quite usable. You also get this hidden compartment. I don't know for what, probably because it's targeted towards the younger audience, below which is a space saver wheel. The panel on the top of the hidden compartment is in fact wisely designed and adds plenty of versatility within the cargo space. The tailgate has a large opening and a low loading lip too. The tail lights are trademark Volvo design, but miss out on an all-LED treatment. The spoiler on the roof looks quite sporty, and the C-pillar, despite its slab design, adds a bit of sportiness to the rear end. The cabin is inviting and uses driftwood trim for the dashboard, Alcantara and leather upholstery for the seats, and bright wool carpeting for the door pads and the floor. When you compare the XC40's cabin to the XC60 or the XC90, you will spot a few common elements: the vertically stacked infotainment screen, the digital instrumentation, the knurled finish for a few of the knobs. That's all common, but that's where the similarity ends. Compared to the slightly more serious cabins of the XC60 or the XC90, this one has a more youthful vibe. I mean, look at the red or the orange inserts here. They look so sporty. I know they're going to get soiled very often, but get them cleaned often. It's worth having them here. It just elevates the whole vibe of this cabin. Feels very youthful in here. Of course, the quality of plastics, it's not as premium as what you would get in the 60 or the 90. The sound experience, that's because you don't get the concert hall kind of sound. This is a 13-speaker Harman Kardon system. It does give you a nice little preset where you can just optimize the audio for all the seats or just for the driver or purely for the rear seat occupants as well. It also gives you a nice surround sound feature and it really works. I also get a key wireless charging pad here. I think it's quite generously sized because even my plus size phone with its additional robust cover still fits in very nicely. Charges the phone very nicely. The gear selector on the XC40 needs a little getting used to. The park mode is accessed via a button, and the stick, push it once and gets into neutral, push it once more and then it will get into drive. Same for reverse, you'll have to push it twice to get into reverse, and the manual mode will let you cycle through the gears up and down by going sideways with the shifter. The more convenient way to do it is via the paddle shifters. The XC40 will begin operations in India with a diesel, the familiar 2-litre oiler, and it's available in the D4 state of tune, which means it puts out about 190 PS of power and 400 Newton meters of torque. The 4-cylinder engine is quite refined and claims to propel this relatively heavy 1.7-ton crossover from standstill to 100 km an hour in a quick 7.9 seconds. The motor feels quite eager too and never feels out of breath. The engine is mated to an 8-speed automatic gearbox. Now out on the highway or in the city, the gearbox works in quite a predictable manner. It responds quite well to your throttle inputs, be it part throttle, full throttle, it responds quite well. And in that sense, it is quite predictable. It also comes with the Haldex all-wheel drive system, which again is predominantly a front-wheel driven car. But when there is slip, it will also provide torque to the rear wheels to aid traction. This powertrain makes for an engaging drive, and even around fast bends or quick switchbacks, there is no understeery feel. The grip from the tires is excellent too, and the braking is progressive and confidence-inspiring even at higher triple-digit speeds. The steering is precise and weighs well at speed, contributing further to the confident and engaging dynamics of the XC40. Now we love that knob with the knurled finish on the tunnel console that lets you select various driving modes in the XC60 or the XC90. In the XC40, however, it's a little more Audi-like. You have a drive mode switch or a drive mode button on the center console that lets you cycle between the eco, comfort, dynamic and individual modes, come to a complete halt, and it will also let you select the rough road mode or the off-road mode. The dynamic mode was our choice for most of the drive, since it livens up the responsiveness of the drivetrain. The comfort mode or the eco modes aren't too dull either and perfect for relaxed highway or city runs. Visibility is excellent whether you're driving in the city, out on the highway, whether you're seated in the driver's seat or in any of the passenger seats. Visibility is not going to be a problem at all. The windshield is nice and large, the glass house is nice and large, the A-pillar is slim, it's not very intrusive, so getting a clear view of the surroundings is not a problem at all. Getting a commanding view of the road, well, that's not happening in this car. It isn't like a typical SUV. The seating is more like a regular car, a sedan or hatchback, so it's more car-like to drive in that sense, and that isn't necessarily a bad thing. However, if you want that commanding view of the road, I don't think any of the cars from this segment really offer that. One of the big news is the XC40, despite being an entry-level car from Volvo, still gets the radar guidance systems, and I think that is something that is going to give it an upper hand over its competition. These include pilot assist, adaptive cruise control, city safety with pedestrian, cyclist and large animal detection, oncoming lane mitigation, driver alerts and lane keeping aid. These are not only segment firsts, but also make the XC40 one of the safest cars in the segment. Rear seat space, it's usually a concern when you're talking about entry-level luxury compacts, but with the XC40 it's clearly not a problem at all. The knee room is simply superb. The driver sitting in front of me is quite well built, and even with his driving seat preference, I have excellent space in here. A tallish 55 profile tire ensures that the ride quality isn't affected, even though the XC40 wears one of the largest wheels in this category. Had the XC40 got slightly larger rear seats and better under-thigh support, it could also make for a very good choice within the segment for those who like to be driven around. That would also make it one of the best all-rounders in the category. Otherwise, it looks, feels and is premium despite being an entry-level offering. It has the flamboyance and the drive to attract the younger audience and newcomers to the Volvo brand. To that effect, Volvo India is in the process of setting up a stronger dealership network to cater to the increasing demand, while its initiatives like setting up a national parts warehouse that stocks up to 85% of its spare parts for ready and immediate availability further highlights its commitment towards its consumers in the Indian market. The Volvo XC40 seems like it will be one of the top grossers for the brand, and in that sense, it opens a completely new chapter for Volvo in India, and quite an interesting one at that.
Now, Hero restarts its quest for the premium segment glory with the Xtreme 200R. In fact, they invited us to the Buddh International Circuit to ride this motorcycle, and Shumi jumped at the chance. Take a look.
Welcome to the Buddh International Circuit. We are here because of that. Hero is showing us the Xtreme 200R for the first time here today. We're getting to ride it. Pricing is still not announced yet, but let's look at what this motorcycle brings to the world. The engine began as basis the Achiever's 150cc engine, but as development progressed, it's effectively an all-new engine. It's still a very, very simple engine in design. It's got an air-cooled, carbureted, single-cylinder format, not complicated at all, and Hero's not extracting too much power from it. Compression ratio is also reasonable, 10:1. In that sense, they haven't really pushed any boundaries yet, but what Hero says very clearly is the engine's job is not to push boundaries, it's to give you a lot of torque which you can use in the real world, so that the 200 is a nice motorcycle to ride. At the racetrack that works, we are maxed out almost the whole of the handling circuit at the BIC, but the motorcycle never feels out of breath or strained. There are no vibrations to complain about, and in that sense, they've nailed it. The problem? Everybody in the 160cc segment today has that format down pat. Motorcycles that have extreme refinement, very nice performance are very, very nice to ride. If you haven't ridden on the street, this will be fun to ride. The Extreme's frame is all new, and what Hero has done is it's taken the motorcycle and created what they call the most agile motorcycle they've ever made. I'm going to say that that's not important because this is one of the most stable motorcycles they've ever made, because it's a really, really nice bike to ride. So we were riding only the handling circuit at the BIC, and I can tell you we went as fast as we liked. In fact, most of the circuit was taken fully maxed out, and the motorcycle doesn't flinch at all. Between the new front forks, Hero's first monoshock, all of it just works so beautifully around here that this is actually very nice to ride. The only thing I would wish for is that I had a little more ground clearance, because I actually finished off the peg feelers on this particular motorcycle. Thoroughly enjoyed doing it, and I can't wait to see it in the real world, because the other glimpse that we got only as we left pit lane is it feels like a really plush, well-sprung motorcycle, and I think out in the real world that ride quality is going to be one of the standout features of the 200R. Given how Hero is approaching the design of this product, it's not an outrageously well-spec'd motorcycle either. So if you look at the meters, there's a basic analog digital cluster, there's not a lot of complication here. It is carburetor, so there is a small choke which is handlebar mounted. It's a basic, simple, clean motorcycle that ticks all the basic boxes. That should also translate to a very good price. So what should it be priced like? Hero's still to announce the price, but I'm going to say around 90,000 rupees is where the price is going to fall. That allows Hero to challenge everything in the segment with a motorcycle that should do quite well out in the real world. How does it compare to the 160s? Because there's some really good ones in there. There's the Suzuki Gixxer, there's the TVS RTR 160, there's the RTR 200. So many good motorcycles to compete against. So how does this one do? Watch Overdrive.
Well, you can check out the print story of the Hero Extreme 200R that Shumi has written on the Overdrive website as well. We didn't have time to take some of your queries on Auto Selected this week, but don't worry, we will be back with that next week. You can send us your queries on helpdesk@overdrive.co.in. You can send them to us via Facebook or Twitter, and Shumi will answer them for you on the show. And if not on the show, he will answer them for you online as well. Time now to check out what's making headlines in the world of auto.
This might seem like a regular Royal Enfield Classic 500, but it isn't. This is the Royal Enfield Classic 500 Pegasus Edition. The motorcycle that you see here seeks inspiration from the World War II motorcycle, the RE/WT 125. Everything from the paint to the stencil number you see here is exactly the same that was seen on the Flying Flea. Royal Enfield says that they've worked really hard to ensure that the color matches the one that you saw on the Flying Flea. Then there are other special editions like the stenciled serial number that you see. Well, there are only 1,000 units that Royal Enfield has made for the world, and the first 250 have been earmarked for India. You see the RE logo. This is exactly the one that adorned the bike during the World War. And then this, the Pegasus motif. The Pegasus motif was the logo of the airborne unit during World War II. Besides the paint scheme and the stencil numbers and the motif, you also get the canvas panniers that reminds you of the soldiers that used to travel around with these canvas panniers on their bikes during the World War. Besides these, the bike remains identical to the Classic 500 that you get in the market today. It's powered by a fuel-injected 499cc motor that puts out 27 PS and 41 Nm of torque. Royal Enfield says that bookings begin on the 10th of June and the customers will be allotted bikes on a first-come, first-served basis. I think you should hurry.
Now, adventure tourer motorcycles have become increasingly popular in our country, and Triumph as a brand needs absolutely no introduction. In fact, the Tiger 800 was given an update recently, and now the British manufacturer has given its bigger motorcycle, the Triumph Tiger 1200, a thorough update. Abhay will tell you more about it.
The full-size adventure touring category of motorcycles is turning into yet another nuclear arms race, just like leader-class superbikes. Every other year, manufacturers launch an updated version that's lighter, more powerful, and even more loaded with technology and features. And the new Tiger 1200, this is the latest such weapon in Triumph's arsenal. The bike is not only lighter, more powerful, but is also more capable now, is what Triumph tells us. But more importantly, the bike is priced lower now. So what's new? Let's take a look. One of the biggest changes for 2018 is to the name of the motorcycle. Triumph has dropped the Explorer suffix, and the new bike is simply called the Tiger 1200. For now, Triumph has only launched the XCX version in India, which is a part of the off-road focused XC family, and hence it comes equipped with spoke wheels. This is a midlife update only though, which means styling has not changed, and just like last year's bike, this is a handsome looking Tiger. The LED daytime running lamps are new though and look distinctive, while the sharp lines across the bodywork make for a lean and highly appealing stance. The single-sided swing arm adds to the bike's charm, while the optional panniers our test bike was equipped with help in completing the adventure touring look. Cosmetic changes aside, Triumph says it has also updated the 1200cc triple-cylinder engine powering this motorcycle. The outputs are higher by 2 PS thanks to a lighter flywheel and crankshaft. But more importantly, Triumph says it has beefed up the bottom end performance, which it says will help when riding this motorcycle off-road. Triumph has also nailed the Tiger 1200's fueling, which makes for extremely precise throttle responses at all times. This is a boon on a motorcycle as large and as powerful as the Tiger, as it gives you an exact idea of how much input is needed from your wrist at all times. What's more, the power delivery is progressive, which means that despite being a 141 PS motorcycle, the Tiger 1200 does not feel intimidating when it comes to opening the throttle wide. Getting used to the bike's performance at slow speeds is thus easy, as is cruising on open highways at well above 100 km per hour. The engine is mated to the same 6-speed gearbox as before, and while gear shifts are smooth, the transmission calls for some effort when changing gears, especially at slow speeds. The XCX also comes equipped with an Aero exhaust, which makes the triple cylinder sound sweeter, especially at high revs. As part of the 2018 update, the Tiger 1200 also gets this remote key fob that you can simply place in your pocket. But as far as the updates to the electronics are concerned, this is just the tip of the iceberg. As part of the update, the XCX gets a new off-road Pro mode which turns ABS and traction control off and also adjusts the semi-active suspension to let you have more fun when riding off tarmac. I did try the mode, and I have to admit, the new Tiger 1200 makes sliding a full-size adventure tourer look extremely easy. In fact, the electronics have your back all the time. The Tiger 1200 also features a 6-axis IMU or inertial measurement unit that is constantly studying the bike's position, lean angle and a lot more, while also working in conjunction with the traction control system to ensure the rear wheel has maximum traction at all times. That isn't all on the rider aids front though, as the Tiger 1200 comes equipped with technology like bi-directional quick shifter, cornering ABS, cornering traction control, adaptive cornering lights and hill hold as well. And that is a lot of technology. Heated grips and heated seats have been carried over from last year's XCX, which should be a huge boon in cold weather. The Tiger 1200 also gets the same adjustable full-color TFT display as the new Tiger 800 that is a breeze to use and offers a range of information. While we are at it, the Tiger 1200's electrically adjustable windscreen deserves a mention too, as it can be moved up or down on the go with utmost ease. One of the biggest highlights on the Tiger 1200 has to be its semi-active suspension that was introduced last year. Well, the suspension has not changed for 2018 and it helps a lot in tailoring the riding experience depending on the conditions that you're riding in. The 1200 XCX comes equipped with dual sport Medzilla tires that offer lots of grip on and off-road both, and sliding the bike or riding fast on dirt is confidence inspiring. In fact, I was surprised at how easily I was able to slide the Tiger 1200 despite its large dimensions and the heft. But once you get used to its size, riding the big Tiger enthusiastically is easy, and in the right hands, the 1200 can be immensely rewarding. The icing on the cake here is the fact that despite all the updates, the 2018 Tiger 1200 costs almost 2 lakh rupees lesser than last year's motorcycle. It looks good, is more capable and certainly more comfortable now. But the Tiger 1200 is still a very large and a very heavy motorcycle, which means it is not a machine for inexperienced riders. That limits its appeal somewhat, but then nuclear weapons are not for everyone, are they?
Well, unfortunately, we've run out of time on this week's episode of Overdrive. But remember, you can stay in touch with the team through Facebook, through Twitter, and you can follow our latest videos on our YouTube channel. We'll see you next week. Until then, drive and ride safe.